Hello, again, my name is Lorenzo Wilson, Vice President of the Panhandle Track and Field Officials Association here in Tallahassee, Florida. Today's session, right now, we're going to talk about the relays, 4x100 meter relay races, and exchange zones, the coverage of the zones, the rules and regulations for handoffs, accelerations, what you can and cannot do within the zone as you approach, while you're in the zone, and when you're exiting the zone as an athlete. Also going to discuss position of the umpires for the event, what to watch for as an umpire as you're looking at the relays, and how many umpires you need for this particular event, because you're definitely going to need more than one to cover all 8 lanes. First, our markings on a 4x100 meter relay race. We have 3 markings on the track. In high schools, you're going to have diamonds. Most colleges now have gone to a painted area. Some may still have diamond area. But some have now a painted 20-meter zone. As we enter our first zone of the relay, it's called our International Acceleration Zone. It will be designated by a small diamond on the track like this one. This is where the waiting athlete, what we call the outgoing athlete, he's standing here waiting for the baton to be brought to him. And this area here is where they will stand ready for takeoff to start their acceleration before the exchange happens. Their body has to be clearly inside this zone area. And when I say inside, I mean our entire body, the heel of my shoe as well, has to be on this side of the diamond. There's an imaginary plane line from the back of the diamond here that extends vertically up on this side of that plane as I'm waiting for my teammate to come in as an athlete. Once they get to a designated point where my coach has told me when to run, then I would take off and run. As an umpire, what I'm going to watch for in the position of this athlete is my body in the zone here, or is my heel completely out like this. You will get some athletes who will put their feet on the ground as such, and my foot sitting up on the ground, my toe is on the ground, my heel is up off the ground. But if my heel were flat on the ground as an umpire, this athlete would be designated out of zone. Therefore, it would be an illegal acceleration, because when my foot is planted flat, I'm clearly now outside of my zone. So I have accelerated outside the zone. This now will constitute a yellow flag. Even if my foot is here, it seems as if I'm in because my heel is up off the ground. But that imaginary plane line tells me I am out of zone. So when that foot is down, it has to be clearly down inside that zone once that foot is up off the ground. That's what you have to look for as an umpire at the time of acceleration. Our next point on that track where the exchange takes place at the beginning of our 20-meter exchange zone. Mr. Van Gooch is standing here at the beginning of the 20-meter exchange zone. This cone designates the beginning of the zone. There's a cone at the far end that designates the end of that zone. Between these 2 cones is where the exchange from my hand to his hand has to take place. Rule says the exchange has to be taking place inside the zone. It doesn't matter if the athlete is in the zone, the baton has to be in the zone. That is the rule. We're looking for, as an umpire, we're looking to see if the baton itself has been changed from hand to hand within the designated zone area, not the athlete's body. So as we're looking for the athlete, as they're taking off and accelerating, now accelerated to this point, waiting for me to bring the baton to him. And once I get to him, at some point in time, I'll give him the command to reach as an athlete. And we can see now his body is clearly in the zone. If I pass him the baton now is clearly in the zone. Again, we're looking at him as an umpire, we're looking at the imaginary plane line that starts where the exchange zone here goes all the way up. His body and the baton are in the zone. This would be a clean or clear exchange. If by chance this athlete at the very beginning, his body is in the zone, as we can clearly see. As I'm bringing him the baton, I'm not giving it to him. Now, again, go back to the imaginary plane line at the beginning of our zone. That baton is clearly outside the zone. This constitutes an illegal pass. Yellow flag will go up by the umpire, because this is an illegal exchange. The baton itself is outside the zone. His body is in, but the baton is out. By rule, we're always, as umpires, looking to where this exchange takes place, not where his body is. This is what we need to be concerned with, where the baton is at the time the exchange begins. As the athlete starts to run, and we have a good clean exchange, and they have it, he now takes it out of his hands, he's off running. As an umpire, we make sure that he clearly has the baton and he's gone out of his lane. Once he goes and everything is clear, all 8 lanes are clear, then we have a good exchange in our zone. There's no need for any flags to go up. Now, at that point in time, also as an umpire, we want to make sure we're watching for the athletes that are waiting. We've always told our athletes to make sure they clear the track once everyone has passed them. As an umpire, while you're waiting and watching athletes set their marks on the track, they take marks, we want to make sure we give them clear instructions to tell them, once you make your exchange at the next zone, stay in your lane, make sure everyone has passed you, then you exit the track. Therefore, no one gets in another athlete's lane and impedes somebody by knocking them down or knocking them off their course. Safety caution on that point. During the time of the exchange, you may have a lot of situations where the baton will get dropped on the ground. It may get dropped during the handoff or maybe prior to the handoff. So let's go back to the beginning of our zone. As the incoming runner comes inside the zone, if I, for some chance, reach too far out and I can't get to him before we get inside the zone and I drop this baton on the ground, I have to be the one to still pick it up and make the exchange. He cannot come back and get it and pick it up. I have to get it and give it to him. During the time of the exchange, once we're inside the zone, if I am making a clear conscious effort to give him the baton, and for some reason it gets dropped, I can pick it up, he can turn around and pick it up. Either one of us can do that without a problem, and the race can continue. Also, during that time, if this baton is dropped and it rolls into another lane, we want to make sure that we do not, again, get in any other athlete's way from another team. I can go and get the baton, get back into my lane quickly, and give it to my teammate. Or my teammate can go and get the baton himself and continue the race. As long as the angle they take once they get the baton is coming back adjacently to your lane, not at an advantage where you're going at a huge angle going up the track to get back in your lane. Get back into your lane as quick as possible and finish the event. Those are things as an umpire you're going to be looking for during the time a baton is dropped on the ground. If by chance the baton goes off the track, yes, they can go and get it, get back into their lane quickly, and finish the event. Again, not taking a huge angle to cut off any distance to get back on the track to gain some type of advantage. At the time of the exchange, at the far end of our zone, again, we talk about when the baton is in the athlete's hand or when it's not, when it is dropped. We take a walk up to the top of the zone and look at that area. Now, right now, I'm still trying to get to my partner and give him the baton. We are clearly in our zone. We're both still running. He's still running ahead, waiting for me to give him the baton. All of a sudden, he's out of his zone. One half of his body's out, one hand. I'm giving him the baton, making sure that he has the baton in his hand. He's still in the zone with the baton in his hand. In the zone, he has a good pass because the baton was still in his hand inside the zone. If, by chance, again, if the baton is dropped during the course of exchange, either one of us can pick it up and continue the event. Once my partner has the baton in his hands and he takes a few steps down the track and he drops it, he can again pick it up and continue his event. It could be outside the lane or out on the track, quickly pick it up, he can get back on the track and finish his race. This is the end of our 20-meter zone for the exchange zone. For the 4x1, we have the beginning acceleration, we have the beginning of our zone and the end of our zone here. at the position of the umpires, I strongly suggest you have, in this event, you have a minimum two. Strongly should have 4, but 2 to 3 umpires for this event, because there are a lot of kids to watch. On the 8-lane track, we're talking about 16 people. 8 coming in, 8 waiting to go out. That's a lot of bodies flying in. That's a lot of lanes to watch, because you have to see if they're inside the acceleration zone, inside the exchange zone, and then also are they inside the zone on the point in time of exit at the end. So that's a lot of people to watch at one time for one particular official. I understand that we do understand that there's a lot of times at meets where you don't have the bodies. Grab a volunteer, parent volunteer, to find out if they can help, if they have any experience with relays, and give them quick instructions on what to watch for. Give them the simplest job to do, and you take the more complicated because you are the experienced umpire. If a one-man crew, you only have one person. Most high school meets you have one person. I strongly suggest you put that one person to the far top of all the exchanges, either to the inside or the outside. Most times I would say on the outside, because again, in the 4x1, these athletes are staggered. They have a staggered start so that they're going to be positioned at a different position. So I will put the person on the outside, and then on the outside looking down in, and I'll go stand what I'm talking about. For one-man show, one-man official, I was standing here at the end of the zone, looking at lane 8 all the way down to lane 1, and have all the flow coming towards me as I watch them come into the zone and leaving the zone. Now I have everything in my vision coming this way. I don't have to look behind me as they cross my vision. If you have a 2-man position, we will place the second official here at the top and the first official at the bottom on the inside. And what we would do is split that track in half. One official takes lane 1 through 4, other official go lanes 5 through 8. Now you only see half the track cut down on your vision. And the more officials, the more volunteers you have, the less lanes to have to be responsible for. If you have a 3-man crew, I place one up top, one there, one in the middle. Now you have someone watching come into the acceleration, one for the exchange, and one for watching the exit. Again, the more bodies, the less lanes to cover. That's the best way to handle the 4x1 coverage for officials, and the rules and regulations for athletes coming in and out, violations on the exchanges, and the exiting and entering of the zones. Thank you.
I can't wait to see